At UFC 259, Amanda Nunes took down a giant like everyone expected. And we found out that the style bender isn't quite ready to hang with the big dogs at light heavyweight. But the match that everyone would be talking about long after fight night was over would be the way Petr Yan ended up losing his title to Aljamain Sterling in their fight for the bantamweight championship. What's up, y'all? My name is Prince and I like martial arts a lot. I like training martial arts. I like talking about martial arts. So I made this channel to talk about all the things related to martial arts that I like. And if you want a place to hang out and talk martial arts, yo, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up on when I'm posting all this martial arts stuff. But okay, I want to talk about the fight at UFC 259 between Petr Yan and Aljo Sterling because it's all over my Facebook, my Twitter, and all over YouTube. Did you guys manage to see the fight?
That's illegal.
If not, you probably know by now how things turned out. Now, look, I didn't know anything about either of these two fighters before the fight, but I saw that Aljo wrestled at a D3 school, and since I graduated from a D3 school, that was enough for me to cheer for him in the match. Now, I saw that he was a wrestler in college with a black belt in BJJ, and he also submitted his last opponent 18 months ago in under 90 seconds. So I'm thinking that this could go really well for your boy, as long as he doesn't go out like Curtis Blades did in his last fight.
Been on each other's radar.
Well, I'm gonna say that I was pretty surprised at how round one kicked off. Aljo came out with a lot of high energy, and look, he was out there throwing hands with a guy who's known for his striking. But the thing is, look, Aljo was pretty gassed out by the third round. And by the fourth round, Yan was taking a commanding lead in the fight. And that's when things took a bad turn. And that's the reason that everyone is still talking about this fight. So look, Aljo looked like he went in for a double leg takedown and he got stuffed. He was downed and Yan was like pressing him down. And it looked like a pretty weird position for him to be in. And I was thinking that like Aljo was completely winded at this point. So Yan's corner apparently yells for him to kick Aljo or hit him. And look, he kneed him in the head and he completely laid the guy out. So Aljo was rolling all over the octagon and he's acting like he's completely out of his mind. And I mean, now the conversation that people are having is that he was faking the whole thing. Like even Petr Yan is now saying that Aljo hurt the ref, saying that it could be ruled a DQ if it was intentional and he can't continue. And then Aljo started to really lay it on and ham it up. Now later Aljo goes to the doctor and the doctor clears him for concussion symptoms, and then he goes back to celebrate at the spot with about 30 other people. Now these pictures are popping up on social media and the conversation online is, well, he's at the crib partying with his peeps. He's holding the belt and calling himself the champ. Oh look, he's talking about setting matches like he's the champ now. Forget all about running it back with Yan. Like, who does this guy think he is? And look, I'm not going there because I don't know this man like that, but I will say this though. Like maybe he did lay it on a little bit after he took a knee to the dome. Look, man, I'm okay with that. Look, I watched a pre-fight prediction video on Forbes, and the guy who was in the video, he pointed out something that made me think differently about Aljo in this fight. What he said is that if Aljo lost the fight, he might not get another shot at the title at bantamweight. He said this guy's been a good performer in the division, but he just kept getting overlooked. And bantamweight just isn't getting the same attention that the other divisions are getting in the UFC. So this was his one shot at getting the bag at the UFC at bantamweight. Look, in a recent statement, Aljo even acknowledged that Yan was really putting it on him in those last 3 rounds. And before I knew that Yan was going to be disqualified, I thought that he would have only had points subtracted and that Aljo would have to manage to pull himself together and to try to hold on through the final round of the fight. So look, if I were in that situation, I would have stayed down too. I mean, I'm gonna get my rest, but like so was that other guy. Aljo would have had to take the knee upside his dome with him into that final round, but he could at least not be sucking wind like he was through most of the 4th round. And I think we have to remember that, look, the fight game is a business and there is some strategy involved to it. It can't always be a straight up slugfest every night. So right now it's sounding like these guys are gonna run it back once Aljo is cleared, and for now he's disqualified until May. Now look, I had some concerns for Aljo at the start of the fight because He hadn't fought in a year and a half, and his last fight ended rather quickly. He showed that he has pretty good endurance when it came to taking shots from Yan, but your boy was gassed by the third round, and I don't know if this was from the combination of going so long without a fight and not having fought in a 5-round match, or if he actually did wear himself out after that wild start in the first round. Look, I'm not a combat sports athlete, and I'm not pretending to be one. I train martial arts to stay in shape and because I like it. So take my advice with a grain of salt, but I think that Aljo should train specifically for Yan in his next fight camp. And what I mean is that he should train something that allows you to stand up with the guy and also take him down. And I think the best thing for that is Sanda. Look, if you don't know Sanda, it's Chinese kickboxing. It's not as popular as Muay Thai outside of China, but in Sanda, you can throw out of the clinch. In Sanda competition, you score more points for throws and takedowns than you do for landing strikes. So, I mean, like, where would someone go to train Sanda? Great question. That's a really good question, because they can go out to San Jose and holler at your boy Kung Lee. Now, by the time Kung Lee got to the UFC, he was more known for his striking, but when he was a world champion in Sanda, he was known for his incredible throws and takedowns. This dude was a monster in his prime. I trained a little bit of Sanda for a short time with a guy who referees a lot of the amateur Sanda tournaments in the US. And at the time, he was teaching at a BJJ school where a lot of the athletes were wanting to go into MMA with Sanda as their stand-up. So this guy's name was Carmine, and he was always talking about how these Sanda takedowns can flow right into your jits on the mat. So I mean, like, what's better than training something that allows you to stand there and bang with a guy who wants to keep the fight standing, but it also allows you to catch him slipping and get him on the ground where he does not want to be. And look, the other reason I think Aljo should at least spend a little bit of time with Sanda is that it looked like Yan did some Sanda takedowns on him in his match. Now, part of the scoring for Sanda is that you can only have one knee touch the ground on a takedown, but you generally don't want to go down with your opponent. And those are the same kinds of takedowns that I saw from Piotr. And I mean, it was kind of surprising to see the striker getting all the takedowns against the wrestler, the jiu-jitsu guy. But like I said, if anything, training against Sanda could at least get him prepared to face Yan in their rematch. But either way, look, man, I'll be waiting to see how things go in part 2. I really hope that Aljo can at least come out and gain some respect back from the court of public opinion. I mean, look, I would like to see him come back and win, but he's going to have to really prepare a good strategy to beat Yan in their rematch if he wants to hold on to that title. But I mean, like, what do y'all think about my suggestion about Aljo go train some Sanda in his next fight camp leading up to the rematch? Look, I don't know how often I'll talk about MMA because this is new to me, but I have a video on Bruce Lee and the last Conor fight that's pretty cool, so you should check it out if you haven't seen it and you like Bruce Lee. But look, that's all I got for this one, so y'all keep on breathing and I'll see you on the next video.